only guy here.
I know. It must be a ladies' topic, I guess, or something.
Who knows?
Oh,
Well,
I wouldn't think so. I think it's
No.
such a relevant one.
It's so great, though. Thanks for everybody for coming and you know,
Yeah,
coming
it's
to
a
hear me
great topic.
speak. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. I'm super excited. So let's get started. And hi, Richard. Can you
Hi.
see okay? All right, good. he can wave at me. So I just wanted to come and talk about herbalism in a new sense. This is about plant spirit medicine. My herbalism training is sort of, I wouldn't call it medical, but it's more like, what do you need? Oh, you have a cough. You need to moisten everything inside. And you need something maybe that's antibacterial. So you might look at herbs that have those properties. But in this kind of situation, they're looking at the spirit of the plant. So they're not looking at the properties of it at all. So if someone just maybe is just really sad, or maybe they need more earth element, or they need more feelings of mother, they might give them an herb that's similar, like a motherwort plant, or he didn't actually say what plant, but I'll tell you, it's about this book called Plant Spirit Medicine by Elliot Cowan, or Cowan, and so for him, it's more like a shamanism way to use herbs, not a this does this, that's a very allopathic way to use herbs, like I need an antiviral and then I do it, and then I need this and I do it. But and then we are actually trained to use the actions of the herbs, but he's just using the feeling of the plant. Is it happy? Is it connected to a certain element? So I was meditating. I have a lot of digestive issues, and I was meditating after herb school and trying to figure out, what do I really need for my health. And I heard the word Larrea, and I'm like, Larrea, is that in like Larrea tridentata, which is, I'm like, isn't that Chaparral? And we were warned not to use Chaparral because in the 90s people were taking tablets of it, and I don't know if they either already had liver problems that they were trying to cure, or it caused liver problems, but some of them ended up with liver failure. They actually had to get their livers replaced. It was serious. So I would say, don't take it. Don't do what I'm about to tell you. I did, but I was pretty careful with it. I asked someone who was a professional in the herbalism community, and I brewed some. It was so strong, I couldn't drink it. And when you're taking tablets, you don't even get that mechanism. You just take it, and then your body's going, ah! Because it's bypassing your tongue. Your tongue's meant to tell you if something's poisonous or something, right? So, and unfortunately, they didn't list what the dosages were. Sometimes it was pure chaparral. Sometimes it was a mixture of stuff. But basically, it's been outlawed. That's how strong it is. Chaparral does have historical use for, like, mild coughs. But it's very, like, I think it was used short term only. So that's why we were warned against it in herb school. Well, it turns out, and then when I heard the word Larrea, I sort of saw, it sounded like a woman's name. Doesn't it sound like a woman's name? And I was picturing this woman with kind of this off-kilter red curly hair, kind of like short on this side and kind of long and triangular on this side, kind of fun and boppy. And I was like, that's interesting. And so then I went to look up the name, and then later I used it in like a weak solution. I tried, once I brewed it too long, like 30 minutes, I couldn't even drink it. I had to throw it away. And my mom had sent me some, and then I tried to brew it it said you could use something like 6 grams. You can't. There's no way you can drink that. It's super strong. So I just tried a super weak thing for a very short brew, and only for a short time, and then I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this very long. I don't want to hurt myself. And I had asked, as I said, a professional what he thought. He said it was like, I could have taken 6 times. I'm like, how would you even drink that? That's insane. So, and later I found out it's good for this thing called biofilm. Sometimes people have bacteria in their gut, and it kind of hides under this like layer of, it sort of hides from your immune system. They're finding out that things are hiding in you, so you might be taking antibiotics, but they're kind of like, it's like having a blanket over them. So they're finding out some herbs can destroy biofilm, and there's others. You can use other herbs. You don't have to use chaparral. But I thought it was so interesting. Like, why did I really did think of it like a woman, this red-haired woman. And then I was talking to my friend who's sort of a wise woman, and she was in a wise woman film, and she recommended I read this book, and this is what I believe I kind of was missing in herb school. I'm so much in my head, and they were talking about the feeling of this and the feeling of that, and you could feel like rising energy or sinking energy when you're tasting herbs, but I wasn't thinking about the spirit of the plants. But they did talk about how if you're going to take some of the plant, you should ask it and wait for a yes answer, either rising or you hear something, or you get an image that somehow it's okay, and then you should bring a gift because you're taking something from the plant. It should be reciprocal. So this book is called Plant Spirit Medicine by Eliot Cowan, and he didn't invent it. Many people have used this, and I'll read this quote here. Plant spirit medicine is a magical religious rite in which plant gods bestow their grace. How is that grace invoked? Some people use song, others use pills and potions, still others lay on hands, wave feathers, or dance. Who knows how many ways may be waiting to be discovered or rediscovered? Whatever method is used, the spirits are invited to help the patient enter the dream of nature. This has nothing to do with fighting illness. For us, there is no such thing as an herb that is good for arthritis or migraine or depression or cancer. Whatever medicine a plant gives you, that's what it will do for your patients. If you want to use a plant for healing, or you have to dream it, or it won't work for you. So that sort of means you've made a connection with it. And rarely do two people have exactly the same dreams. And rarely do two people use the plant in exactly the same way. It's super interesting. So plants have a being that serves as a representative. And this could be seen as a human, or an animal, or a comical figure, or an alien, or some other amalgamation of shapes. And certain plants have more power than others in the spiritual realm. And these are the ones that we often regulate in our society, either hallucinogens, or tobacco, marijuana, ayahuasca. So it's interesting that there are some that are, the ones that are more potent are more powerful spiritually as well. So again, it's not based on medicinal qualities. And Eliot started meditating with plants, and his messenger plant is plantain. It's not the banana plantain. It's a green leaf plantain called Plantago major, I believe it is. And it's a green leaf, and the Europeans brought it to America. And the Native Americans called it the white man's footstep because it followed them where they trampled, exactly. But they found it very useful too. It's a super great, moist, healing herb. So, but that became Eliot's messenger plant. So if he needed someone, he would contact the plantain first, and then it would find the one he needed, which is great because then he doesn't have to figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's what he said. So in one case, the plant that was chosen had a pink and purple flower, and I was trying to find the story in the book again, and I couldn't. But basically, I think the person needed more happiness or joy. They were just like this sunken down, and they actually saw, I think he meditates. He didn't really explain what he does. I think he either meditates or stands over them and meditates. I'm not really sure. He didn't really go into that. But the client saw pink and purple and then described sort of things similar to the plant, but then other qualities of happiness. So, and then Eliot was also using homeopathic medicine. Well, once he couldn't get a supply, I think it was starting to be regulated, or not everyone could use it anymore. And he started using the plants because he had to, and it actually turned out it worked better. So, and if you know about homeopathic medicine, what they do is, they're not really sure how it works, but they take the plant and they put it in, I don't know if they cook it or put it in water, but then they take a drop of that and put it in the next big thing of water, and they take a drop of that and put it in the next one. So, and then between each one they shake it, which is supposed to make it more powerful. And believe it or not, it's supposed to capture the energy of the plant, and apparently the more diluted it is, the more strong it is. And it gets to the point where it'd be like a drop in the ocean. You can't detect any of it left. So how does it work? And some people say it doesn't work, but there's some evidence that it does. And they're trying to figure it out. Is it nanoparticles or quantum physics? Actually, they have quantum physics people looking at that. So, but anyway, he used plants instead. And then during his meditations, once he met this rain god called Tlaloc or Tlaloc. I'm not sure you say it. I have a photo of him, and he was seen as someone who had water coming out of his hands. And there's a black. You can look at all these photos. The black and white one has two snakes wrapped around as a mask for his face, and you can just go down, and you can pass it on. But it was so neat. He first saw him like this, with water coming out of his palms. I don't know if it was like that or this. And then later, when he had he had a conversation with this being, and he said later this will be confirmed that as not a dream. And later he saw his sister or a friend had a book on the shelf about South American gods or something, or religion, and he went to look it up, and guess what he saw? Like this, a god with water pouring out of his hands.
Wow.
So, and interesting enough, he actually lives in California. If you don't know anything about California, there's only 4 seasons: drought, fire, mudslide, and rain. So, although they have so much sun, I mean, it's just like they don't get enough water. And he said, he was talking to Tlaloc, and he said they don't appreciate it, and they totally don't. Everybody has lawns. Most people have lawns still, and I used to live there. I could say that. It's insane. It's a desert, right? So he would do some ceremony to try to help people if there was a drought on, and I guess he kind of saw him. After a while, he sat down and he was smoking. Yeah, I'm imagining him like in some 70s garb doing this, But so he did some Elliot did some ceremony. He's like, didn't I do it right? I didn't get any rain. He's like, yeah, I gave you a sprinkle to let you know you were on the right track. But he's like, they don't appreciate it. So, and later he met a shaman who knew him, and he had on his wall tons of religious stuff, and behind a mask of Jesus was Tlaloc's, a little thing of Tlaloc's, hiding behind his mask of Jesus. Yeah, and they described the tribe was Huichol. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, Huichol. And it was sound like this ceremony was part Christian, part Tlaloc. They had a band. They had girls in white dresses, and then after this, they went to the Catholic Church to do this. And after all this, they had a festival outside and food. It was just like this amalgamation of everything. So it sounded really fun anyway. So what other spirits are there? There's also spirits for earth, wind, fire, water, thunder beings, and more. The Native Americans talk about the thunder beings that bring the lightning and thunder, and I believe it might be important because of it's so dry in so much of the Southwest. And this links with the 5 elements theory of the Chinese medicine, where they seek to establish balance in order to heal. So it's not about you treating the problem; it's about you restoring the balance of the body so the body can heal itself, which is similar to what they were talking about in herbalism. If you remove deficiencies, maybe the body can help itself.